Hey folks, how you doing today? Welcome to Bob's Bottom Shelf. What we do here is show you that you don't need to spend $100, $60, or even $30 on a decent quality bottle of liquor, and you can still make an exceptional quality cocktail using what I call top of the bottom shelf ingredients, which will range in price from about $8 to $25. In today's episode, I'm going to show you some of the best affordable brands of your basic essential types of liquor. We're going to cover gin, vodka, rum, bourbon, and vermouth. Alright, so getting started with our recommendations today, we're going to start with vodka. We have the Seagram's brand here. You can pick this up at your liquor store or your grocery store depending on your state liquor laws. This is about $10. I could also recommend Smirnoff for about the same price, maybe about $12. Or if you want to go a little less expensive, you could pick up Popov for about $7 or $8. And you use vodka, of course, to make drinks such as your martini. We have gin next. I'm going to stick with the Seagram's for a recommendation. You can pick that up for about $9 or $10. And we also have Sir Robert Burnett's gin, which is even more inexpensive at about $7 or $8. And you use these to make things like your gin and tonic. And moving on to some whiskey. Today we have bourbon whiskey. I'm going to recommend Benchmark 8. It's made by Buffalo Trace. And you can pick this one up for about $10. I could also recommend brands such as Evan Williams for about $12 or maybe Kentucky Tavern for about the same price. For rum, we're just going to do one type today, the White Light rum. This Cruise On, which I recommend, states it's aged for 1 year. You can pick this up for about $10. There are many types of rum, which we will go over eventually, but for today we're doing Cruise On. And I could also recommend Castillo Silver for about $8, Don Q Cristal for maybe $12, and Bacardi for about $14. Alright, moving on to a couple types of liqueur here. I'm going to recommend Gallo for your sweet vermouth and Gallo for your dry vermouth. You use Gallo dry vermouth to make drinks like your martini, and you use the sweet vermouth to make drinks like your Manhattan. These are easily findable at your grocery store or your liquor store, and they're rather inexpensive at about $6 to $8 a bottle. And what we're going to do next is actually make a cocktail with our sweet vermouth here and our bourbon whiskey. I have my recipe book here as always, which states you're going to need 2 ounces of bourbon, 1 ounce of sweet vermouth, 2 dashes of Angostura bitters, 1 dash of orange bitters, and a cherry garnish. So let's get our cocktail shaker here. And I choose to use a measuring glass as opposed to a cocktail jigger, just because I like them, I guess. So 2 ounces of bourbon. You could also use rye or Canadian whiskey, which we will cover in our next episode. And 1 ounce of Gallo sweet vermouth. Also, you could try Martini and Rossi sweet vermouth. It has a little bit of a different herbal type of flavor. That one's about $12. I prefer the Gallo though, I think it tastes a little better. And 2 dashes of Angostura bitters. You could also find this in your grocery store or liquor store for $7 to $10. And 1 dash of orange bitters. This one seems to be a little harder to find. You might be able to find it at a Walmart or order it online. And we're gonna shake it up with some ice. You don't have to shake this one, I just prefer it that way. For about 15 seconds. Should be good. And you can use a lowball glass or a cocktail glass. I'm using a lowball glass. And even if the recipes don't call for them, I like to add ice because a little dilution never hurts. And last but not least, our cherry garnish. Now the real recipe calls for some super fancy cherries called Luxardo cherries, but we're using top of the bottom shelf ingredients. We're using store brand cherries, maraschino cherries. Work just as good for our purposes here at Bob's Bottom Shelf. All right, Manhattan, cheers. It's actually been a while since I've tried one of these with the Oz Sweet Vermouth. It's definitely better than the Martini and Rossi, which I have been using. Alright, so what are some of your favorite top of the bottom shelf liquors? Maybe you know of a good one I haven't tried yet. What do you think of the ones I used? Leave me a comment down below. Alright folks, coming up on the next episode we have recommendations for rye whiskey, Canadian whiskey, 2 more types of rum, tequila, and brandy. Click the link on the screen now to see that. If you have any tips, suggestions, compliments, complaints, gripes, or anything like that, leave me a comment below and we'll talk about it. And subscribe for more episodes of Bob's Bottom Shelf, where you save money making cocktails at home using quality and affordable ingredients. See you in the next episode.